Another angle to this THC fear mongering madness when it comes to 0.3% THC should be the limitation for hemp crops. And that is what is being defined as hemp. Is you need to think about, like when the government is wanting to issue licenses, cultivation to the farmers, uh, they might get maybe 10,000 farmers who line up to get a particular license. Now there will be 10,000 acres of hemp plants being cultivated. Now, the biggest fear of the government is that if the hemp plants produce more than 0.3% THC, it becomes a usable product for nasha, what they call it. But a plant with 0.3% or 0.5 or 1% THC is not really that good for any kind of nasha. The minimum requirement would be somewhere around 3 to 5% THC, which is a very mellow kind of cannabis buzz, and somewhere around 5 to 10%, which is a medium to semi strong buzz that can last for about an hour or two. And if anything is going beyond 10 to 15, it is considered as strong. The effects are going to be strong. Matlab, like even just using a small amount of cannabis can get you a very strong high. Anything beyond 15 is usually not required because it's a person who might be starting it out for the first time. And if he takes a inhalation of a drag of cannabis or makes a tea or makes a bang juice out of it, the effects will be a little strong, but it's not that it's going to be lethal or dangerous or toxic where the person is going to die or something like that. Of course, it can create a lot of madness, especially when people are going to jump into try the cannabis as a high who is not experienced. So this is where like regulation plays a very good role because when you have a regulated industry and when there are medical dispensaries, like we have bars and pubs and wine shops and wholesale shops which is selling alcohol, and every alcohol bottle is branded with how much amount of alcohol is present. Similarly, in a cannabis industry, the dispensary is going to have flowers which are below 5%, flowers which will have 5% to 10%, flowers which are beyond 10% to 15%. So now that is the way to regulate a cannabis and a cannabis hemp industry, and not simply by putting a meaningless limitation on a cultivation of a crop when it is not even natural. Hemp is not something that produces less than 0.3% THC. It is specially bred, and once you grow it, you cannot use the same seeds to recultivate the plant back again. You need to keep on buying the seeds from that particular corporation who is breeding it for that particular seed production. So this is going to be another failed policy. So the better thing to do is remove the limitations of hemp, let it produce 1% or 2% naturally. Because when you put a lot of plants within a particular acreage, the plant is going to go vertical and it's going to have lesser branches, it's going to have lesser leaves, and the sunlight that is going to be used for photosynthesis, which is going to be responsible for the THC production, is not going to be that much. If you take the same hemp seed plant, which produces 0.3% THC, you grow it with an abundance of space, the plant is going to grow and then create a lot of branches, create a lot of leaves, get a lot of photosynthesis, and it is going to produce more and more THC naturally. That's what cannabis does, because that's what the plant is supposed to do, because it's the defense molecule. If you take the seeds from that particular hemp plant, which was intended for 0.3% THC or less, and if you do the next cultivation from the same plant, do third or fourth generation or fifth generation, the plant will naturally come back to 3% or 4% or 5% THC. Now, the entire 0.3% THC is going to create one major horrible thing, and everyone needs to be very well aware of this. It is going to create a monopoly of who gets to supply the seeds for the entire nationwide cultivation of hemp crops. And it becomes very easy for large scale agro corporations to come and take control of the entire industry. In the future, you will be surprised that if you shouldn't be surprised if a company like Monsanto comes and takes control of the cannabis hemp crop, saying that it produces less than 0.3% THC, and every farmer, through regulation, through policy framework, is forced to buy seeds only from one single corporation. Is that what we really want?